My circumstance of ending up homeless was rather different than what we see in the streets today, or even what we saw in the early 1980s. Mine wasn't a HUD-related issue. It was something that I think we've experienced for years. There was so many fewer of us. My mom died and my father didn't want us there. So we ended up bouncing around in the streets. I got very fortunate in that I ended up at Hospitality House in the Tenderloin, a community organization that way predates the advent of contemporary homelessness. And I became part of a fabric of a community in addressing the fact that so many of our neighbors and our community members were finding themselves with nowhere to live. And I actually was able to use the experience that I was going through and how I was, get over feeling sorry for oneself by helping out other community members that are even in a worse place than you're in. And that's how we should be managing this issue. This homelessness should not be a career choice for people, and poverty shouldn't be a career choice for people. We should be looking at how to systemically address the massive economic inequalities that we see, the commodification of healthcare, the commodification of housing, education. We're commodifying our public parks and our public streets through business improvement districts that are now running whole neighborhoods. So we need to understand that neoliberalism is killing our country. And we need to really understand that there's a massive human rights organizing campaign, like with the Poor People's Campaign. Like, we have to connect these issues and understand that it's not a San Francisco issue. Like, homelessness exists. There's 62,000 shelter beds in New York City. There's over 50,000 in Chicago, over 40,000 in LA. This is a serious problem that's been around since Reagan cut the affordable housing budget in the early 1980s, and we're all living Reagan's wet dream of neoliberalism in America. He called it the Reagan Revolution. And this isn't a California or a San Francisco issue. California may have a larger number of people according to HUD's point-in-time head count, but that's because they go out on January 25th every other year and do a head count, and that's how they come up with the number of homeless people in the United States. That's ridiculous, and of course warm weather climates are going to have a higher number. We don't know what the number of homeless people is with any specificity because it's something that poor people go in and out of all the time. This is a federal responsibility to ensure that people in the United States have a decent place to live that they can afford. And we now spend $54 billion a year in 2004 constant dollars, less on affordable housing than we did before the homeless crisis kicked in the early 1980s. Restore that funding, look at the cause and effect of eliminating that funding, and you'll see the numbers of homeless people go way down because we all know nothing ends homelessness like a home.